Hi, this is Wishop. Give me a second to get focused here. This is the Oracle set of readings for January, February, and March of 2019. Your kind of mix and match first quarter divination smorgasbord with a bunch of different styles and types. So here for the Oracle section, I've got 9 oracles in total. For this particular section for January, we're going to be using the Brownies Oracle by Doug Thornsjoe. We're going to be using the Angel Answers Oracle by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. And we're going to be using L'Oracle de Venice by Colette Sylvestre Haberly. So let us get to it and see what the Oracle for January says. Temptation, take action. Okay, l'escalier, I don't think I'm pronouncing this very well, de giants, the staircase of giants. So I will read to you what these oracle cards mean from their books. But one thing I wanted to mention, so you can see all these brownies are lined up in this store window. They're all in line to look at the store window. And here we've got, if you can see this close up, like this sort of jack in the box, sort of frightening them. And they're all talking to each other. So there's an idea that temptation as such can be fed by the group. So as we're standing in line, we're sharing our ideas about what the best thing in the window is, the most expensive, the flashiest, the prettiest. And we're also changing our minds about it, because that is being social animals and working very closely in the need for social cohesion. That's just how human populations survived. There is a temptation to correspond your views to the group. And this can be a big one, especially when what it looks like the group is doing, or maybe vocal members of the group are doing, looks like it's something virtuous. So when it looks like people are making a choice from a position of moral or ethical superiority, even if they don't say that, you might just assume that they're intellectually, ethically, morally superior, because sometimes we just don't give ourselves credit for the qualities we have, and we look at other people and go, oh, there's so much more fill in the blank than I am. And then the temptation is to fall in line with whatever they're doing or whatever they're advocating in order to gain those qualities yourself, or to feel less uncomfortable about the fact that you don't match them. If you've ever been in a group where everybody is sort of in one type or kind, and it can be of any sort. They're all studying the same thing. They all have a similar belief system about something. It could be a political group. It could be they all like the same kind of music, and you are feeling like the odd person out. The temptation is to go along, to make your life easier by going along. But this is the store window. This isn't reality, right? And there can be a temptation to buy into the store window, the shop window of what people are selling. And I don't just mean actually selling, although that's certainly true. And at this time of year, there are a lot of people selling a store window of a life you could have that's going to look like what's inside this store window. Then your life will be like this, or your life will be like the commercial, or your life will be like the Instagram post. And there can be a temptation to fall in line with that, thinking that it will ease your own discomfort with things that you're not totally sure about. Maybe even things you want to change in yourself, or it could be things that are really okay and a very important part of you, but they're not in fashion right now. You feel like a small minority in the group that you're in. You feel like you're put into a position where going along is easier. I feel like that's the temptation here. It's a little like the emperor's new clothes, where everybody says, oh, the emperor, doesn't he look great? And you go, yeah, he looks great. And it takes a little kid to go, he's not wearing anything. So I feel like this temptation, because we have this idea of the shop window and everybody chatting together, and this idea of this sort of, I would say, social pressure, that this is the temptation. So at this time of year, if there are things that you would like to work on within yourself, I would say avoid the temptation to just buy into a splashy image of someone who seems to be superior to you in that aspect. You can certainly talk to people, but in the end, you really want to follow your own counsel, because this group huddled around here and they got scared by a Jack-in-the-Box. They're not necessarily, just because there are a bunch of them together, doesn't necessarily mean they have a great idea. So every idea that you adopt and that you decide to take, every toy from the store you decide to take home, should ultimately fit with your life, your values. And even though I know it can be difficult when you feel like you're the odd one out, and I really do know that, it's what's so precious about you. You know, you're providing a service that no one else on this earth can. By being your unique self, you're holding a space that we need. You know, you're providing a color in the rainbow that we need to have. So don't sacrifice what's special about you unless you really feel like it's the right time, you've done your part with it, you don't want it anymore, you know, unless there's a really true, authentic feeling from within you. Because see, I see this take action card. Naturally, you get to take action and you go, oh, that says take action. But I'm thinking about the fact that this person is facing backwards, sort of toward the past, right? Towards my temptation card. So I'm thinking about the temptation to take action that could actually lead you backwards. It could be not following your star. Like we see this star here, but it almost looks like this horse is a unicorn. And this being on the horse is getting ahead of the star. Like, wait, I'm jumping ahead. No, here's the guiding star. Sorry if I left the screen there for a minute. Here's the guiding star. You don't need to get ahead of your guiding star because you're jumping toward temptation. So let me read what the book says about take action, just to see if there's got more detail here. The time has come to take action. Well, my comment is it may really feel that way. Your angels are waiting for you to take the next step so that they can assist you along the path to your dreams. Do away with procrastination and uncertainty in your heart. You know what to do. Get going. Whether you're focused upon career, relationships, or some other topic, the fulfillment of your wishes isn't going to just fall in your lap. You must be actively focused on the pursuit of what you want. Okay, so this is going to lead me to another pet peeve, which is going to make this little video slightly long. There's a lot of focus right now on focus. People will say, quite often you'll hear said, you must have a concrete focus. You must know exactly where you're going. If you don't have this laser-like focus upon your dreams, you'll never get there. But that's a lousy way to invent something new. How for example, was Steve Jobs going to have a laser-like focus on what the iPhone was going to be 20 years before it happened? You can't have a laser-like focus on things that haven't been invented yet. And frequently in this information age, as people are developing all sorts of different approaches to things, and we're using technology in different ways, and we're gaining new findings and new understandings, why do you assume that you can focus on exactly where you're going? For example, an area I know something about is publishing. So 20 years ago, if you had a laser-like focus on being published by a large traditional publisher and creating sort of a mid-list career that was going to sustain you and you'd be able to work and write and that's what you'd be busy doing, that is probably not where you're at right now, because technology has changed. Culture has changed, the way that authors' work has changed, the technology of publishing has changed, the way they interact with their fans and readers has changed. I mean, things are different, and things are always different. It's really a myth that the past is trapped in amber and that somehow people had these more peaceful lives because everything was secure. It only looks secure to us because we can see it in hindsight and we know they survived whatever challenges they were facing. But at the time they were living, it felt just like it does to us now. What the hell's going on? Where are we going? How do we deal with chaos and change? How do we surf the things that happen to us? So I guess the thing I want to say is, if you don't have a super duper specific goal, I don't think you should be pushed into taking action based on the temptation that there are loads of people who are going to tell you, well, you just have to set up the right day timer. You have to set up the right day planner. You need the right vision board. You need the right set of affirmations. Sometimes you need to let your feet guide you because they know where they're going. Sometimes you need to let your heart guide you and just think about the kinds of things that you're happy doing. You know, maybe you say, rather than say, I want to be an author published by this particular company, blah, 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 which puts a straitjacket on you, because if things change, you may never get to that goal because it might not be possible. But you could get to something even better that's more fulfilling for you. So rather than put yourself to stick your pin so perfectly into the goal, to have such a laser focus, you could just be thinking, as some people advocate, about the feelings you want to cultivate, about the kind of satisfaction you want to have. You know what? I know I want to write. I want to find a way to write creatively and to be compensated for that and to be able to build a worthwhile career around that. Cool. That gives the universe a lot to work with. So if you feel guided to a specific kind of action to take, you definitely should take it. But I feel like at this time of year, there's no shortage of people or advice saying that. And what there is a shortage of, maybe not a shortage, but there are many fewer people saying, you know what? Sometimes allowing your instincts to guide you means not knowing where they're taking you, meaning you can't see what's around the bend. And that's actually a lot scarier than making a very specific plan that has you walking into a future that you think you've predicted and you think you've figured out, and therefore it's not frightening. It doesn't feel like it's going to challenge you because you know exactly what you're going for. But you don't. You know, the future changes and you change. So instead of putting your pin in a map like that, think about the fact that intrinsically you have a lot of wisdom and a lot of heart and a lot of great qualities. And you can take action that doesn't need to take you backwards just because there are a bunch of people saying this is the only approach to that problem. You have to do it this way. This is the diet of the week. And if you don't do it this way, it's going to be bad. You know, you don't have to buy those assessments. You can carve out your own path. And isn't it a Rumi poem like "There is no path, pilgrim, you yourself are making it by walking it." I mean, I think there's something really brilliant about that, because the path you're carving through life is unique. So now I'll wrap up since this one's a little longer, but the Staircase of the Giants. And I wanted to wait to read this because it is, oh, I'm sorry, 26, The Stairway of the Giants, because I think it's a nice takeaway. This is a card of competence, power, and domination. Woo. All right, let me hold this up so you can really get a load of this. It announces the realization of projects' social elevation. It favors material concretization and makes it possible to achieve all professional goals. So what it looks like to me is that you are going to get where you're going. You are making your goals real. You just need to make sure that what you're following are your true instincts and not necessarily temptation to fall in line if it doesn't feel comfortable and supportive and nourishing for you. If you see a new approach that everybody's taking up and it looks like the answer to what you've been looking for, go with it. But if it doesn't, try to have enough confidence in yourself to think that you're different in this area for a reason, and a very good reason. So that's what I want to say about this. Next we'll be doing February and March. It's a pick a mix oracle or a pick a mix divinatory system, so you can look at any of the set that you want at any time. Hopefully you find them fun and interesting. And until next time, rock on with your bad selves.